Now for today's project, I'm doing chapter 9 and we're going to test the difference between two means, and each will be a dependent sample. So the question is to determine whether or not the wind affects runners in the 100-meter dash, and can it be concluded that wind affects them. So the first thing we're going to write down is the null hypothesis, which is it does affect them, and the alternative hypothesis, which it does not affect them. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go to the calculator, and then let's see, then you're going to take the time in the wind, or the time, or sorry, you're going to take in list 1, for example 9.72, and then subtract it by 9.69, and then do it with the same thing on each one of them, all in list 1. And then, let me see, the first one, the answer is 0.03. The second one would be 0.02. The third one would be 0.01. And the fourth one would be 0.04. And this is what it should look like in the calculator. Let me just minimize that for you. There we go. And then once you have that, so now I'm going to show you the steps in the calculator. So now that your numbers are listed in list 1 like this, you're going to go over to the next step, and then you're going to hit F4, 1 bar stats. And once you hit 1 bar stats, it should look like this. Then hit enter. When you hit enter, list 1 is going to pop up. And when list 1 pops up, or if it's not list 1, then just change it to list 1. Then you're going to go over to hit enter again, and it should come up with this. And what you're going to need is the X. But in this case, we're going to change the mean and the standard deviation to this. And in this case, they both, the mean equals 0.03, and the standard deviation is 0.013. So now that we have the null and alternative hypothesis, we know that it's a two-tail test, and we're going to do it with an alpha of 0.05. So we're going to set it up like this. And each side gets 0.025. And then we're going to run a confidence interval. We're going to do so now we're going to do a critical value test with inverse t. On your calculator, the area will be 0.025, and the degrees of freedom will be 3 because n is 4, so n minus 1, therefore is 3. And then the answer you get is positive and negative 3.182. After you get that, just mark it on the chart right here. And then a positive 3.182. And the next thing we're going to do is run a test value. In this case, the formula for the test value is the mean minus the null hypothesis and the standard deviation divided by the square root of n. So here, if you go back to the calculations, the mean was 0.03. The standard deviation is 0.013. The null hypothesis is going to be 0, and n is going to be 4. So if we put it together, it would look like this. There we go. And then just plug that in your calculator, and you get 4.615. And if you put that up here, there we go. Now we're going to create a p-value to prove our point. So in this case, this is what it would look. This is what the thing would look like. The curve would look like. And then on your calculator, when you put it in, this is what it's going to look like. Just go to TCDF for the p-value. The lower value in this case is going to be 4.615. The upper value will be infinity, and then the degrees of freedom will be 3. Then the answer you get 0.096. Oops. So let me fix that. But then you realize it's a two-tail test, so you have to multiply by 2. And that gets you an answer of 0.0192. So therefore, 0.05 is greater than 0.0192. And since it appears in the shaded region, we are therefore going to reject. So since we're rejecting, our statement would then be, there is enough evidence to prove that wind does affect 100 meter dash times. There we go. Thank you for watching, and I hope this helps.